One. All right, my guest today, uh, most of you know him as a Kizomba DJ and Kizomba teacher, but what you guys don't know, he's a martial arts teacher. He has some backgrounds in some martial arts. And so not only we'll talk about Kizomba today, but we'll talk about martial arts and other stuff. Please welcome David Epperson.
Uh, Glad to be here, Ronnie. Good to see
How
you,
are
man.
you, sir?
Good, good. Trying to stay healthy and fit during this pandemic.
I know, man.
But
I haven't I
it's
haven't seen
good.
you since the Allegro social. I know
It's
you
good.
guys did some Kizomba social there for a while too.
Yes, yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
How's your brother doing?
My brother's doing fine. He's working from home like we all are.
Yeah.
I work from home. I teach at a university, Cal State East Bay, so all my classes are online. So I'm
Yeah.
teaching.
Really online now. And it's like, how is that going with this online classes now? Does that work?
It does. I've been teaching online for about 13 years there.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay. Okay.
So for me, it wasn't of a big transition. It's asynchronous. I put my assignments online and my students gather them and they have 2 weeks to finish them. Other people who have taught in person, now they're going Zoom. They're
Uh-huh.
having much more difficulty because it's a different type of format.
Yeah.
When you're online, it's a lot more work for the instructor and for the student.
Yeah, that's true. Um, how did you start in martial arts, man? Because what are you doing? Kajukenbo or Arnis?
No, no. My background, when I first started many years ago, I started in Taekwondo
Ah.
many years ago. Stayed it for a couple years, but then moved on to Chinese Kempo and Kung Fu,
Mm.
and stayed there for many years. Still an instructor in that, and as well, I've also been an instructor as well as a student in Diquetis, Filipino martial arts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I heard about that. It's by Arthur.
Arthur Gonzalez,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Red Master. Yeah, he passed away last year.
Oh, he did. Sorry to hear that. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah. So
Uh,
that was a big loss for the community.
yeah, one of my master passed away too, but I didn't hear about it until like a few months ago. But he passed away 2 years ago, Ralph Castro. But I've been so,
Yeah, I know.
bro, I've been so out of the loop of the martial arts that I didn't know who passed and are still alive, you know? But Ralph Castro was probably one of the nicest person you'd ever meet, and his family. I mean, his family is just awesome to work with. But okay, so you started with the Taekwondo, and then later on, you did some Kenpo. Chinese Kenpo. Is that through Ralph Castro or Ed Parker?
No, that's actually through the lineage goes through Professor Thunderbolt Chow.
Oh, so you're talking about Karahu, no?
Yeah, so we're
Oh,
talking about my instructor was Robert Gaylord.
okay.
Okay, his brother was Charles Gaylord. Charles Gaylord was into Kaja Kempo. Robert was into Chinese Kempo and Kung Fu.
Got it. I got
And
it.
so when we train, what you see now is a mixed martial arts now.
Yeah.
We were doing that years and years and
Yeah.
years ago. You know,
Especially when if you're actually you guys were doing William Chow's style. Yeah, he had a lot of jujitsu. He had a lot of it's not the it's very different from Ed Parker. Although let's say Ed Parker learned from William Chow, we all know that. Okay, it's just that he converted his martial art into something else. It's all about the flow of the Kenpo. He does it called American Kenpo,
right.
which later on, Ralph Castro was one of his black belts. Then Ralph Castro changed his style. He was teaching Ed Parker style at that time, and then William Chow visited him did some seminars there, and then suddenly he changed it to Shaolin Kenpo. But I see the difference. I know the difference in that what you're talking about.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, I've been training since I've been in the arts for 41 years. I'm 60 now. So I started when I was 19.
And you've been active ever since.
Active ever since. Matter
And
of
I
fact,
wish I'm on and off. My relationship with martial art is on and off, as you know, because when I into dancing, I'm laser focused. When I'm into something else, I'm laser focused.
well, for
But
me,
I love your consistency, there, brother.
yeah, no, martial arts and dancing, it's the same thing, especially when you're partner dancing because
Of
you're
course.
looking about weight, you're looking about balance.
Yeah.
What we do is when we partner dance, how we step and how we go across our opponents. To me, In my mind, that's a throw, that's a leg trip,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it intermingles, and in me, it's much better. For me, when I dance, I tell all my students and my martial arts students as well, it's all about the balance. That's what it is. And that balance not only transcends into martial arts, but it transcends into your life. If you don't have balance in your life, okay, you're going to be disconnected.
Yeah.
So that's the way we were trained.
Yeah. For 40 years, dude, you ever competed?
No, I was taught street
Okay, so
fighting.
yeah, when you got out of Taekwondo, that's it. It was all street after that.
So I was in Taekwondo for a couple years,
Okay, okay.
but I wanted something that had more balance between the feet and the hands.
Yeah,
Taekwondo was excellent for kicking. I love it for
absolutely.
kicking.
Yeah.
My brother was in Taekwondo and he competed in several tournaments. But I wanted something a little bit more balanced, so that's when I got into Chinese Kempo. Later on in my years, I used to work in nightclubs. I was a bouncer, but I was also a bodyguard too.
Mm,
So that helped me a lot.
yeah.
Helped me a lot.
It's like it's a matter of finishing the encounter within seconds.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is in real life when it comes to self-defense, really.
Yeah. Well,
Now, what do you think? So okay, you did Chinese Kempo, and then you got into de cuerdas, which
right.
has arnis and Escrima styles there. And what's your impression with it?
Um, I I love it because I studied that for 20 years. For the first 10 years, it was nothing but the stick,
Mm,
learning the
course,
stick,
course,
feeling
yeah,
the stick, getting the weight,
yeah,
motion. And then for the last 10 years, we worked on knife,
nice.
techniques for knife, techniques
Yeah,
for gun, but it was basically knife. And Grandmaster Gonzalez, his thing was how to you defend against somebody that just came out of prison, not a normal person who's on the street. How do you come out of prison? Because people in prison, they've got years and years and years to hone their craft
oh
on
yeah,
how to destroy somebody. And
yeah,
it's not the same. It's not what you see in television. I try to tell everybody that, you know, if I hit somebody, they're going down. You're not
yeah,
going to get back up.
yeah.
They're going down. And but television, they have to do that to keep it
Cool.
fluid and going. But in real life, fights are done in seconds.
Yeah. You would have
Um,
finished as quickly. It was like, why would you hit somebody when you know it's not 100%, dude? Why would you do that? uh,
exactly.
so have you taught martial arts as well nowadays or what?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I've taught for many, many years. I have a couple students that I teach Zoom
Okay, good.
classes now, right now with, and we're trying to hone and perfect that. But it's basically, kind of like a call and response. They
Yeah,
can see me, I can see them. I will show a move and say, okay, this is how you're going to counter it.
yeah,
Okay. Now
yeah,
give me not exactly what I showed you, but give me two others that you think you're going to be comfortable with because, in martial arts, what we give our students is the basis, is the foundation, but you have to make it your own.
yeah,
I don't want any student to copy me.
mm,
Same with dance. No, you make
yeah.
it your own because then it becomes more natural and more fluid.
Right. Now, before the pandemic, did you have a group class or do you work out at a particular gym when it comes to martial arts?
No, people used to come to my house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Used to come to my house.
It's a typical type of Filipino martial arts type of environment. It's all outdoor, dude.
Exactly. And even when Grandmaster Gonzalez was alive, we used to go to his house.
Yeah.
It'd be every Saturday for a couple hours, and people would come from all over. And we
Yeah.
get all different types of people. We get people that were in the corrections, people that had other schools, other styles, because what was lacking in some of their arts was the knife. And art, Grandmaster Gonzalez perfected it so well that it was something that you needed to add to your repertoire.
It's a great thing because I hear this in similar teachers and similar students that learn Filipino martial arts. So, I mean, the way I learned Filipino martial arts, and at that time I was in San Francisco, I was 17 years old, uh, and I saw them in the park. It was Latusa Escrima, by the way, Rene Latusa. And at that time, he used to call his martial arts FMAS, Philippine Martial Arts Society. Now he
Yeah.
calls it Latusa Escrima. But they were just practicing. It's like, hey, guys, can I join? It's like, sure. And he gave me the way the stick that you see in a typical stick you see in Escrima right now is thin,
Mhm.
right? Dude,
Yes.
he gave me the thickest with lots of masking tape on it and everything. It's like, and when he hits me, it's not like, no, dude, it wasn't like that. It was full force like this. That, dude, the first time he hit my stick, it went out. It's like, Rodney, you're supposed to hold it really tight. I used to get my arms numb after practice, dude. But
Absolutely.
you're right, it's all outdoor.
No, absolutely. Hold on a second. There we go.
Just disappear there. Okay, so
Okay.
now let's tie this into dancing because I know your background in dancing. Dancing is not just kizomba. So tell me about yourself about dancing, bro.
Well, I've been dancing since, oh my God, since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. My parents used to throw house parties all the time.
Yeah,
We grew up with a jukebox, big jukebox in the house, so we always danced. And then,
yeah,
I grew up during the era of disco, so so always dancing, always.
yeah,
Then about 2012, I think it was. My brother was actually 2011. My brother and his girlfriend were deciding to go couples dancing, so they started to go to salsa, and that's when they went to Allegro.
yeah.
And they wanted me to go, but I couldn't go because at the time I was selling cars, and I couldn't give up my Sundays. When you're selling cars, if you got a deal going, you just
Ah,
got to
that's true.
see it through.
Yeah.
But 2012 opened up, my hours changed, and I got into salsa,
Mm.
and I love salsa. I loved it. I love the community that we had at Allegro because it was all different nationalities
Yeah,
from everywhere, coming from everywhere. And that it felt home, felt safe
yeah,
for a lot of people. And I like the fact too that there was no alcohol there because I've worked in bars before, man, and
yeah.
people drink the liquid courage and they get stupid. But
Right.
there, it wasn't. I didn't really see any women getting disrespected. Guys grab. I didn't see any of that. People were there just to dance, and I loved it. And then I was exposed to Kizomba in about, what was it? No, actually 2000. Take that back. 2008 salsa. 2012 I was exposed to Kizomba. And from there, I felt the African beats, the rhythms, and I liked the fact that we were bringing a couples dance back, but with some African beat, some,
Yes,
some
yes,
down
yes.
beat. You could feel it,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I still love it. To this day. I mean, I practice by myself here. I live by myself, so I practice by myself here.
Yeah,
But
2012 was the year that Kizomba came to the Bay Area, actually,
yeah,
with I think I don't know about the very first workshop that Emil has hosted, but I think there were a lot of people there during that year. Emil started it, I started it, Chalyana and Yair started it. We invited several people. Emil invited Quinda Lima, which was
Linda,
that was significant. That was really
I
significant because
know him very well.
yeah,
Yes.
we learned a lot from him, and of course and then Mafalda. I forgot his partner already because you know.
Oh, Jawam.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, McFarland and Jawam.
But
Oh,
how
yeah.
could you forget Mafalda? You can't forget Mafalda.
Nobody could forget.
I mean, there's no one like Mafalda besides, let's say, Sarah,
Yeah, Sarah
that
Lopez.
that dances Tarasinya like that. No one,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
But okay, so you like the dynamics of Kizomba. Now you got different styles. You got the traditional, and then you got the urban kids. Are you into that too?
No, no, no. I stuck with the traditional because for me, since I'm older, I'm probably 30 years older than most of the people in the Kizomba industry, but
Yeah.
I like the style. That was the base. That was the base of it.
Mm.
And me and my brother, we've had such a musical background. My mom was into opera. She was a trained opera singer.
Yeah.
There was jazz in my home. There was country music. There was all kind of it. So we kind of had the feel that was our parameters where we wanted to stick to. I think when you have a practitioner that does urban kids very well, it's beautiful.
Beautiful to watch. Yeah.
It's beautiful to watch.
Mm.
But I like the connection. I love the connection. I don't like really separating apart
Yeah.
from my partner. And I think the older couples like that too, you
It's
know?
pretty much the same thing with the traditional bachata, as it were, if you were to compare it, where they don't have to, the Dominican bachata, as they name it now, you could see a lot of fancy footwork, but not really in the old days. It was bolero-ish type of thing, just like Kizomba. And there's a little bouncing there too, but you know, I get you. I like the traditional part. I like uh, the lead and follow, the feel of the music and the feel of the partner together. I love the fact that the follow doesn't have to predict what we're trying to do as a lead. They
Yes.
just feel it. I like that idea. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't, he always talks about his brother. Mentioned his brother. His brother is Christopher. Um, and you've known them as what we call brothers Kizomba. Where did that name come up?
That came, you know what, when we decided to, people wanted us to teach and stuff like that, maybe a year out after we learned it, and I said no.
Yeah,
I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to make sure that we know it back and forth. Not only know how to dance it, but explain it. Sometimes there's teachers out there that can
mm,
dance very well, but can't explain it very well.
yeah,
So we wanted to have the essence of explaining it. So I'm thinking one day, I said, we're doing this as a team, we're doing this as brothers. So I said, you know what? Hey, brothers Kizomba. I was driving in one day and I said,
brothers
this
Kizomba. There
thought,
you
I
go.
said, yeah,
Yeah.
because without, he's the other half of me, just like I'm the other half of
Yes,
him.
of course. Yeah.
And we make a good team. And we teach a lot of times. I would take the students, the beginning students, and I would ground in the basics. You
Yeah.
got to have the basics.
Yeah.
And then I give it to my brother. I said, here, you teach them if they want some fancy footwork or this or that. But you can't get to point B until you have point A. And so that's how we work together. And so,
Spoken like a martial arts teacher right there.
uh,
But that's the way it is, and I know that now that I know your background in martial arts, that does translate into teaching in the dance, which not too many teachers break down techniques and explain the dynamics of the techniques, which very few of us do that, by the way.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you were around in the beginning, so was I. So you saw when Kizomba came onto the scene,
Yeah.
a lot of people, it was a money grab because they thought, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. And so after 2 or 3 lessons, people were out there teaching, had no idea what they were doing. None.
No, the
And
thing is, my impression of the Kizomba then is it's almost like bachata. Not that I'm comparing the dance, but I'm comparing the popularity of it and how it went from the traditional part to progression to innovation to evolution, whatever you want to call it, right? It's because if you don't have the background of teaching, let's just say, okay, and we both know that when you're teaching just basic kizomba, there are not many. Okay, there are not many. Just basic bachata, there are not many when it comes to steps. So if you're not a trained teacher, by the time it's 10 minutes, you taught every materials already,
yeah,
and your students will get bored, and then they'll never come back to your workshop.
exactly. I mean, like I told you, I teach at the university. I have a master's in education. So I am teaching,
Yeah,
continuously teaching. I do curriculum,
yeah,
I do all that. And my brother has the same degree I do. He has a master's in education as well. So
yeah,
that's why when we formed our class, we wanted to do something different than most teachers
yeah,
did. We split it up,
yeah,
basics, then where the art's going to go, because all the fancy stuff is where the art is evolving to.
mm,
But the basics is what you dance with. It's just like in martial arts. I have several high degrees in other arts, but when I come and fight or defend myself,
yeah.
it's with the basics.
Of course,
Why? Because it's quick, it's
of
simple,
course.
and you don't have to think about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the way we did the approach when we were teaching Kizomba.
So if a beginner student, let's go back to martial arts a little bit. So if a beginning student who never really fought in his entire life come to you as like, I want to learn from you, what do you start him with?
Well, the first thing I said, why do you want to learn? Because if somebody says, I just want to learn to kick butt, then you're not my student.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. Yeah.
But what I start with basically, if we get past that, what I start with is your footwork. I look at it as the ABCs. You need to avoid and evade. Even if you don't know how to block or return a punch, get the heck out of the way. Don't stand there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So avoid the punch first. B, then you can block.
Yeah.
C, then you can counter.
Right.
So that's the way we were trained. There's no shame in running away. And if people think there is, they're wrong. You know, I've walked away from many fights that I could have won
Yeah.
in my earlier years, but we were taught not to. It's not about hurting people. That's a misconception about the martial arts. It's for defense. But if someone comes at you, then you have to show that you can defend yourself, and not only that, send a message in their mind that you will never do this to you or anybody else ever again. And that's the way we were taught.
Yeah. Most of the martial artists that I know, especially the masters, when they get into a situation, and some of them have video on YouTube, it's the idea, because you know all of these things, the idea is to control your opponent or your assailant.
Yes.
Not to destroy them, because honest to God, we will kill them. You know? So, but it's just to control, and not too many people know that. And this is my critique on MMA, particularly in that community. My critique is that there is no formal, I don't know how you call it, but we studied martial arts, there was a structure there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was a form of respect. There was a form of ritual to be able to appreciate the entire art. And so therefore, when we were raised up, we became black belts or we become high ranking, we know that respect. We give respect to people, not only to non-martial artists, but to our fellow martial artists. You know, I don't see that on MMA. It's all about destroying.
Well, it's also about a payday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're
You're
all
right. You're right.
they're looking for a payday. They're looking
You're
for
right.
recognition. Some of the best fighters that I've seen when I was a bodyguard and a bouncer,
Mm,
you would never think so,
yeah,
but they were dominating.
yeah,
But the thing was, is that, you know what, they valued life first. A true martial artist, we look at it like this, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. In order for you to show mercy, you have to learn how to kill. And the reason is because there are some situations where you don't never have to kill. You have to show mercy. There has to be a balance, like the scales of justice.
yeah.
All right. And most people, when I say that, they don't understand that. But you can't be always on and say, I'm going to hurt somebody. But
Right.
also, too, you can't be less and be passive and get your butt kicked all the time.
Mm,
There
yeah,
has to be a balance. I tell my students, like when you said at the beginning, is fighting is only about, maybe, in my opinion, 10% of the martial arts. The rest of it's a way of life. How you
yeah,
look at people, how you respect people, how you want to walk through the world.
yeah,
That's my opinion. I've been doing this, like I said, 41 years.
yeah.
So, and it's,
What's your
um, I-
opinion on, and let's get into a little bit details here, David. Defending against a knife. Now, some form of martial arts think differently, approach it differently. We approach it in the Filipino martial arts in a certain way. So I want to know your opinion. Do you look at the knife, or do you look at his entire body first and not the knife?
I look at it, well, I was trained that I can look at his entire body, but I can still see where the knife is going, and depending what hand he is, left hand or right hand, is he going to
Yeah,
give me a slashing,
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the gut, or is it going to give me to the neck,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
across? It just depends. I'm not going to be there. Wherever the knife is going, I won't be there. So, so it's about angles,
yeah,
and people don't realize that once the assailant is committed 100%, he can't change his direction halfway
yeah,
through it. He's got to go. So basically, but I can change mine. I can counter. So I can either, if a knife's coming at me, I can disarm it, take it away. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to break something. If it's,
yeah,
I'm going to break something. Most people who get cut, this is the thing I tell my students, in a knife fight, you're going to get cut. Just, you know, accept
especially
that.
if they know what they're doing.
Accept that. Well, a true person that knows how to use a knife is not going to stab you.
No.
What he's going to do,
Bite you.
you're going to die by 1,000 cuts. He's going
Yeah,
to cut you to let you know that, hey, I can attack you any way I can. I'm just telling you, leave me alone.
yeah,
And so a lot of people don't take that as gospel, and this is how they die. They charge at the knife. No, you never let that person come to you. Keep your hands back.
yeah,
Why? Because once their hands are away from their body, they're weak.
yeah,
My hands to my body are strong, part of my core. So I can not only use my arms, I use my shoulder, I use my whole body
yeah,
defending a knife. And it's no difference if I have a weapon in my hand or not, or somebody has a weapons in their hand or not. I'm still doing the same thing. It's just that with a knife, I'm just a little bit more careful. But you know, a lot of people don't realize that the harder somebody grabs a knife, the easier it is for me because you're exposing all your muscles. So I'm going to
yeah.
attack. I'm going to attack all your weak joints.
Now, how would you, let's go further, okay? How would you know if an assailant really knows how to use a knife or not?
Because they're not going to brandish it.
Common sense. No. That's good.
They're not going to brandish it. And also, too, when you're looking at somebody, all right, we're taught, as you well know, how one person will favor one side or another.
Yep.
So when they do that, chances are the knife is going to be in their pocket or in their back pocket. Okay. I have seen knives in sleeves. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen them back here behind the neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But chances are, a good knife practitioner, he's going to put it somewhere where you can't see it.
Can't see it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Wait.
you need to have distance, and the distance is determined by basically, it's about 15 to 20 feet. Somebody can cover really quick. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times what people have, and a knife will come out, and people, what do automatically? Deer in the headlights, they freeze.
Yeah.
And by the time you start up again, it's too late. You know?
You know, one of the reasons they freeze, I think, in my thing, is they focus on the knife alone. That's the thing that they freeze, you know? They're not focusing on the whole, especially the whole person. Because if you, like when we dance Kizomba, right?
Right.
We're not even looking, but we know the moment they move that shoulder right there, you feel it. Not only you feel it, it's almost like you could detect it. I don't know. It's like it's very detectable, you know. Um, and I know Filipino martial arts, you know, it's close range type of fighting, which I can relate it to dancing and whatnot. Depending on other styles, of course, like let's say modern Arnis, which is more a little further there than Cabal's Escrima or something, you know.
Right.
But I like your analogy there. And if they have a gun, what are you gonna do?
If they have a gun, a thing about the gun is it depends on what it is. If it's a revolver, um, I kind of like between revolvers and automatics. Revolvers are a little bit more dangerous because they don't jam.
No, they don't jam at all. No,
They don't jam. So,
but but
but we were
the
taught.
trigger is a little harder, bro.
It is a little harder, but we were taught to put the hammer,
Yeah,
it's the hammer in the webbing, if we can. Try to keep the gun at all possible away from your body, but also away from your ears too. Because
yeah,
even if they don't shoot you, they get the shot off, you can still go deaf. They'll
that
blow
hurts.
an eardrum out.
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah,
um, we were always taught to, no matter who you're fighting two,
yeah,
always. Because if there's a crowd around, there's going to be some person, there's going to be an opportunist, excuse me, who's going to come behind you. I've seen that happen. It's happened to me when I was subduing somebody. So somebody with a gun, you basically want to put that, you know, the muzzle away so nobody's in the direction of it.
yeah. Sure.
But with a gun, you can do joint locks, which is, again, very, very easy. Um, the thing is, don't be scared. What I mean by that is during the confrontation, don't be scared. Afterwards, if you want to cry like a baby, fine.
Yeah.
Cry for joy that you made it. But
It's a
don't
very interesting that you see the joint locks, which is very when it comes to gun, that's very common. It's unfortunate that when I see a lot of YouTube videos, that's not emphasized. Why is it not emphasized? Why can't they get the very idea that the one who's holding a gun, his finger is right there on the trigger? It's so easy to do locks right there, dude. It's like, you know.
Well, because you know why? It's not sexy. No, it people want, they have this conception from Hollywood that, you have to do this great move, this great thing. No. Uh-uh.
No.
You know what? I don't care if the move is sexy. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I want something that's effective.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And as we get older, like I said, I'm 60. I've reduced my moves. When I was younger, oh yeah, I do all the crack and flash and stuff when I was younger. But now my moves are 3 and done. That's it.
It's the same thing with me because I don't have the endurance, number one. But the more you prolong a fight, the more it's dangerous because
Yes.
you don't know what's going to happen there. But if you make it fast, you don't give him a chance. Make sure he doesn't walk afterwards. He's still alive, but don't make him walk.
It's exactly. That's the way we're taught. Make him realize that, you know what, he made a bad choice at attacking you, and he'll make bad choices if he attacks somebody in the future. So every time he wipes his butt, scratches his head, he'll, scratches his nose, he'll remember and say, oh, you know what, I shouldn't be doing that.
So lately, brother, we have some rioters and looters right there, and I don't want to talk about them, but I want to talk about the street fight that happens during that time. What happens here is we're talking about multiple attackers, right?
Right.
The danger of this is that you don't know who's going to hit you from behind. What's your advice in that situation?
Okay, multiple attackers. The first thing is back to a wall.
Yes.
All right, back to the wall. All right, I can guard here.
Yeah.
180 here in front. I can't guard what's behind me. No one's got my 6. The wall's got my 6.
Yeah.
And then you use the wall as a weapon. You can roll off the wall. You can bring people, throw them into the wall.
Bounce them, yeah.
Bounce them. You can bounce off, boom. But when a crowd, you always want your back. I've been in bar fights, unfortunately.
Those are the most realistic fight. Of course, they're drunk, but
Well, actually, I was breaking up some fights. And the thing is, you want your back to a wall.
oh yeah,
I think one of a famous martial artist, he got stabbed from behind in a bar fight.
yeah.
I can't remember his name offhand, but he got stabbed from behind because he was fine. He could cover, 3, 6, 12. I mean 3, 6, 9, but he couldn't cover a 6.
I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not going to be able to cover the 360 degree around you, you got this is probably the most valuable tip you've ever said. You got to find a wall, dude, because that's going to save your life.
I mean, I've been in situations of bar fights where bottles are flying,
Yeah.
pool sticks are flying, balls are flying, people are flying, chairs, all that stuff. And the one thing that, basically saved me was I was on that wall. And
Yeah.
the thing was, you want it, I was working. If that was different. If I was just a normal customer, I would have been on the wall, but edge my way slowly to the door so I can get out.
Yeah.
But that's about what martial arts should be. That's what we need to do. We need to realize if we're getting in a situation, we subdue, control the opponent, and then make our escape. We're not there to look at our handiwork. Too many people do, and this is why they get hurt.
Yeah.
Or die.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, your first choice is to run. Really. There's no shame in doing it.
Remember what I told you, man? I teach my first students, avoid it. Get the heck out of there if you can, man. Don't.
You know what Richard Pryor said? If you're in a self-defense, you're being attacked, run. If you can't run, fly. That's a Richard Pryor joke, man.
Yeah. No, I mean it's true. I think so many people think that it's sexy to fight and all that. Even when you fight and you win the next day, you're bruised up and you feel pain in areas you didn't even know you had. I can personally attest to that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even remember getting hit there. I had one time on the back, on my right side, I had a shoe print. So I don't remember because my adrenaline was going so much.
Yeah.
But the next day I was like, man, that hurt. I couldn't get off. So,
I
no,
mean,
so I try, I avoid confrontations at all costs, not unless someone pushes me in a corner or it's my family or friends, and
I mean,
then,
back in the day when I would get into street fight, because at that time, growing up in the Bay Area, um, it was Filipino against the Latinos
uh,
at that time. Yeah, it's either it was Filipino against the Latinos, and it was blacks against the Samoans. You know, no, yeah, dude. It was we would stab each other. Like the Mission Street number 16 bus actually. Dude, we don't care if they're on. We would bring knife, make sure we stab each other or what. It's like it was brutal. It was brutal at that time, and at that time, uh, there was what we call Manila Town, and so
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but that was back then, and when it comes to fight, dude, I mean, we're talking real fight. We're not talking MMA where there are rules, okay?
Oh
There,
yeah.
you don't know whether you're gonna make it or not, but it's
It,
just.
it's funny you should say the Mission because that's where the clubs I worked at on the Mission District. And so there's a club called Flicks, Streets of San Francisco, all that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the gangs would draw their line right at that club. And so what we used to do before you could come in, we had a box. Drop your weapons in. Guns, knives, lipsticks with razor blades. The women used
Yeah.
to have combs to tease their hair. They'd sharpen the points. You name it. The
At that
worst
time,
one,
we would even carry nunchucks because it wasn't even illegal at that time.
right.
Yeah.
The worst I saw were women with acrylic nails.
Oh my God.
Sharp
Yeah. Yeah.
because you couldn't tell they were a weapon and they would cut you. I've seen some women fights that I tried to go in and one of my guys said, nope, stay out of it.
By the way, I love you, ladies, but you always start the fight.
I put it this way, I seen some guy, alcohol will do it. And, when I was in the club, I used to see, a guy would flirt with another guy's wife or girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
And she would, say something to him. He had a few drinks. He'd get that look of courage going. And they'd try to start something in the club. I said, nope, you're going to take it outside. 2 seconds later, the guy who wanted to do something, he's on the ground. So his old lady got him. His old lady got him buried on the ground. So anybody that listening for this, hey, alcohol and stupidity don't mix.
All right.
Stay,
Let's
stay
get into
away from it.
let's get into the let's go into technicalities. How do you close the gap? What's your technique in closing the gap?
Closing the gap. My technique is by angles.
Aha.
You don't go straight. You don't go straight in because you're right in the lion's mouth, the bull's horns.
Yeah.
You got to go angles. So when you go angles, your weapons are facing that opponent, and their weapons are facing somewhere else. It's much easier to do that and instead of be straight on because I'm 6'5", 275.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody is smaller than me, I'm going to overpower them.
Oh yeah.
What are they going to use? They're going to use their angles and speed.
Yep.
The whole point is to close the gap is to get behind.
Yep.
That's the number one thing. Get behind them. Now their weapons are facing away from you, but your weapons are facing to them. What I mean by weapons is your feet, your hands, your elbows, your head. So yeah, we work on the angle principle.
That's
Whether
good.
I was in Chinese, Kempo, and Kung Fu,
Yeah.
or Dakotas, it was always angles. You divide that pie up. So,
Yeah, that's a beauty thing about FMA and Kenpo because you got all kinds of angles right there. It's really a 360-degree angles. You got all kinds of choices there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what we're talking about, let's just put it in simplest perspective. Watch Pacquiao fights, Manny Pacquiao, and watch how he closes the gap with all kinds of angles. And even get out of there from, I mean, when he does those angular moves, they don't even know what hit him, and they can't fight. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to know the art of closing the gap, right there's your first lesson. Just look at the boxing fights of Manny Pacquiao because he does awkward movements, which is very frustrating to his opponents.
and same thing with Tyson. But Tyson would use angles, but he would also use his height to an advantage. I tell everybody, how what your height is, fight that height. Don't try
Yeah.
to be bigger or smaller than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because hey, God gave it to you, use it. Okay, it's at your advantage. You
Yeah.
know, use the angles. Use every part of your body. Every part of your body is a weapon.
Yeah.
The biggest weapon you got is here.
Of course. Yeah.
Biggest part is your mind. So you want to, if at all possible, de-escalate the confrontation.
Yeah.
Talk. Don't talk derogatory. Just de-escalate. Even give them the idea that they won. Who cares? Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. It's not about the fight is not about scoring or winning. It's just,
No.
just have to,
Fight is about going home to your loved ones. That's what it's about.
that's exactly it. Yeah.
So
Talking about Tyson, it's unfortunate that not too many boxers now in this era are not into the peekaboo type of concept. It's very hard to do, bro.
yeah.
You have to really train for years to do that. I mean, that peekaboo technique where that's just a training itself. You put a rope here and then you go all the way. It's very hard,
But we did that, we did that in Dequetas too. That's how we
Do
cut.
you? Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So we'll start from the mid up here,
Yeah.
go all the way down to your ankles. Come up, same thing.
That'd
So
be
we're
great.
it's constantly fluid for us.
It's perhaps
You know?
the cheapest but effective tool when you train, just tie in a rope right there and just do that routine every day, man,
Right. You have to, in the arts, just like life, you have to be like water. You have to learn how
Oh,
to
yeah.
perform,
Yeah.
move. Sometimes, it's, the yin and the yang we taught. When somebody goes hard, we go soft.
Absolutely.
If we go soft, then you go hard. So you trade it back and forth, but you have to learn and understand you can't be two bulls and muscle like that, okay? The stronger of the two is going to win. Sometimes you have to step back, let that person go, So as they're charging you, I'll step at an angle, let them go, and then my left hand, bam, back of the head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So stuff like
Now,
that.
when it comes to Kizomba, when it comes to dancing, who are your favorite teachers and why? I know every teacher you learn something, whether they're good or bad teachers, you still learn something.
Oh,
But
yeah.
who comes across your mind?
I would say probably when they were dancing, teaching as a couple, Albir and Sarah.
Ah, yes.
Yes, because Albir is the one who kind of put hip hop in it way before the Urban Kids was. He
Yeah.
got chastised for it, and now this is what they're
Look at
doing.
everyone.
now. Everyone's doing it now. I loved his spirit. I mean, we're good friends. Helio.
Helio's another one. Yeah.
Helio's funny, man. Me and my brother hung out with him in Portugal a few times.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
hilarious. But he's a good teacher. He's been teaching over 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Quinda is another one. Quinda
Quinda is
style.
very spiritual.
Oh, extremely good friend.
I gave him a book. I gave him Tawab Jit Kundo, by the way. He liked it.
Really? You liked it?
Yeah.
Good. Those teachers, and you brought up Mafalda. I love Mafalda because there is not one person that I know in the Kizomba community that can even come close to the body control that she has. And everybody who's even coming close now, they look to her.
And also, she's a tough teacher. She will tell you, man, it's like, you're doing this wrong.
And again, another good friend, very, 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 very sweet. That was early on when we were
Early on, yeah.
dancing.
But you're right. Look, Albert and Sarah was probably the greatest
Oh my God.
partnership when it comes to dynamics and charisma, when it comes to teaching and performing. I have not seen a couple like that since,
No.
I
I will say that as far as showman,
Yeah.
Tony Parada.
Yeah, he's got some shit in there.
Tony's a
He's got
showman.
character.
He's a character, man. He used to call my brother when we were in Portugal all the time, Obama. Yeah, Obama. All the time, man. But yeah.
Hell, if we got Mandela, then we got to have Obama.
Oh yeah, that we do. Yeah, exactly. But a lot of these teachers, what people don't realize here is this is what they grew up with. This is part of their soul.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're trying to gather some of that. We didn't grow up with it. Some of us have come pretty close to replicating it, but this is what they were fed. This is part of what they ate every night. You eat,
Yeah.
breathe, and sleep it.
I know you and Chris DJ back to back.
Right.
Give me your top 5 musicians in Kizomba.
Oh, let me see. Top 5. I'm trying to think here. That may be. I might have to get back to you on that one because
Okay.
there's some, no. The reason is because there's some that I like instrumentals. I love the instrumentals. Oh, geez, I'm trying to think.
Do you ever listen to? I'm sure you play it. Gracie Border songs.
Oh yeah.
It's very. I feel it, man.
Yeah.
His songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'll listen to
Okay.
that. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of instrumentals I like just because instrumentals can you can listen to an instrumental Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it'll put you in a different mood every time.
True. Very true.
Every time.
Now, when you DJ, do you have a preference of playing the traditional combination of kizomba and simba, or do you play some ghetto?
Yeah. Now, what we play, well, we start out obviously with the ghetto zouk.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you one. Nelson Freitas is
Of course.
one.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of the other one. I can't think of him.
There's so many when it comes to the ghetto zouk, of course, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
traditional is a little bit harder, as you know.
Traditional's a little bit harder. I mean, I like the traditional, but we learned at Ghetto Zouk because it has a strong R&B base to it.
It does.
You
can't go wrong with R&B. Even when it comes to salsa or bachata, where they fuse R&B there, it sounds good.
It sounds good, and that's the ear we grew up on in the Bay Area. I mean, the Bay Area is mecca for music. Period. A lot of my friends are musicians. I mean, and you got world-class musicians here. You got Santana here.
Of course.
So many musicians here. So
look, how old are you now?
I'm 60.
My God, you're older than me. I thought I was older.
No. That's my brother's 59.
Oh man, I'm 54. I'm just catching up with you guys.
Well, it was so funny when people would say, "Man, you guys got a lot of energy, man. I can't go as long." I was like, "Man, I'm 30 years older than you." Because most of the people in the scene are anywhere between 35 and 40.
Yeah, because I was asking you that because it's like you grew up in the disco era. It's like must be the same.
So,
were you into classic rock at all?
What's that?
Classic.
I was into all music. I was into
classic rock. I was into Neil Young. I was into
Crosby, Still, Nash and Young.
Led Zeppelin.
Zeppelin, absolutely. Absolutely. Moody Blues. I was into R&B. I was into
Queen at that time too.
Old school R&B. I was into progressive jazz, like
progressive jazz is Were you into the old school hip hop also?
In the beginning of the whole school hip hop, I was into that. Yeah.
They originated there in Oakland. I mean, most of them. At least in that at least in the East Bay. Like
Like I said, the Bay Area was a mecca for music.
Did you grow up here?
Oh yeah, I grew up here, man. I grew up in Hayward. I was born in Los Angeles, then lived in Oakland for a little time, and then moved to Hayward, and went to grade school, junior high, high school.
Oh man, so you were here in the old days that there were so many memorable things in the Bay Area back in the day that are no longer here. Let's say let me give you an example. Instead of Walgreens or CVS, you had Woolworth.
Oh yeah.
You remember those days?
Hey,
bro, you had Church fried chicken.
Church. I'll give you something better. Okay, so the Alameda County Fair, right?
Yeah.
You used to have all kind of groups like Tower of Power. All these groups would play there, man.
Yes.
Back in the day.
They would just play local. You would just play local just like that, It didn't matter how many crowd it was,
Yep. No, I think a lot of the, the youth have missed out on a lot of stuff that when we grew up, it formed and shaped the Bay Area. I mean, such as, drive-in theaters that kind of making a comeback now because of the
Yeah,
pandemic,
yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. But I mean, we just had so much fun in the Bay Area.
Bay
That,
Area was just it's still something to this day.
oh,
I live in Reno now, as you know, but I can
right.
never replace it. I still think I'm from the Bay. You know?
Come on, I, my father had season tickets to the Raiders when they used to play at Frank Ewell Field in '63.
Oh my
I
God.
knew a bunch of the Raiders. I knew a bunch of the old
Oh,
time Raiders.
they were
I,
like they were the flavor.
I
You know?
put it this way. I partied with Matuzak the night that he shot
Oh
off the gun.
shit, really?
Oh yeah,
That's awesome,
crazy
bro.
dude. Crazy dude.
That's
Crazy dude.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, even before the pandemic or maybe after the pandemic, I have a social at the Allegro Ballroom, and occasionally Christopher and David teaches and DJs for me in the Kizomba room. Hopefully we could probably do this again in the near future. We don't know. We don't know the timetable, that is. But where can they find you, David?
They can still find us at the Brothers Kizomba. Hold on a second, I got a
Okay.
phone call coming in here. They can find us at Brothers Kizomba, or I'll give you my email right now. It's david.epperson1960, my age, at gmail.com. Once again, david.epperson1960 at gmail.com. Or you can find on the Brothers Kizomba. We still have a website.
Is that a Facebook page?
That's a Facebook page, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
So,
you could get in touch with David and Chris over there. David, I know your brother will be watching this. I want to thank you, both of you, for supporting my festivals.
oh yeah, no
I
problem.
remember the moment I started having Kizomba room there. You guys have always been supportive. Success or failure, and also thank you for supporting the socials at Allegro. Really, I want to thank both of you, because even David takes my work. I mean, not David. Chris takes my workshop. It's like, what are you doing here, Chris? It's like, I want to learn some footwork.
Well, our philosophy is, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, in order to be a good instructor, you have to be a good student.
Agreed.
Even though I've been teaching for so many years, I'm still a student of the arts. I'm still a student of dance. So,
Yeah.
and I'm still a student even when I teach at the university. If there's something else I can learn, more power. And that's how you become a good instructor, being a good student.
I agree. We never stop learning.
Never.
We always make sure our cup is not full. You see, you know.
Yes, yes.
And so, but anyway, I want to thank you. Thank you for this chat. I love doing this because if it was not for the pandemic, I wouldn't do this. But I love doing it because I get in touch with people like you and talk about old days and new things and exciting things that are going to happen. So I'll bring you back as a panel. We'll probably touch into some other issues in the dance scenes or martial arts and all that stuff. But David, thank you for your time, sir.
Hey, thank you. And thank you for doing this, for reaching out to people, because I know some people are, not leaving the home or doing anything. So this is still bringing the energy of Kizomba dance, salsa. Matter of fact, I just watched one with you, salsa, earlier today.
Yeah. Oh, that was for Felipe Martinez, right?
Yes. Yeah, I watched that today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're bringing the energy and you're keeping it alive.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes I do it live. Sometimes I do it recording like this. And I appreciate that, David. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content, just press like. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's on the right side of the screen. Just click it. David, I will see you again, brother.
All right. You be safe, be healthy to you and your family and to everybody out there. Peace.
You too.